All right, so here's the one that's hot right now for me, and I think it's the dumbest argument ever.
Okay.
And I want somebody to make it make sense to me, and I say this because I have experience in this realm.
Mhm.
All right, so the argument that Andre 3000 is not should not be put on the greatest of all time list because he is in a group is one of the dumbest things in the world to me.
Yeah.
It
I said the
annoys me.
same thing about Black Thought as well.
Black Thought, Fonte, all this stuff that you see.
Yeah.
Those three are probably three of my favorite. They're probably all in my top five.
Yeah.
All three of those. But it's every time I see somebody say, well, he's in a group, so it doesn't count. And I'm like, have you been in a group? I have.
Have you listened to Andre 3000?
Have you? Yeah. Like, do you know what it's like to make a group project?
Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis.
Like, I think people have this this idea that it's like, oh, he faxed a verse in or something.
Yeah.
Or something like that's not how that's not how Outkast projects were made.
No clue.
He's, they were involved in a lot of that stuff. And even beyond that, there's really no difference in writing an album. I mean, there's a little bit of a different approach because you're collaborating. And I would make the argument that it's actually more challenging to make. I think I've even said this on the show before. It's more challenging to make a collaborative project than it is a solo project.
Yeah, because you're bouncing off each other.
You have to work with somebody else and think about them.
I would agree.
The amount of verses that you have is it's not a good metric. But having 5 Outkast albums or projects that are arguably classics.
I don't think
Let's not get into that. But
we ain't gonna get into that.
But just from that,
That's a whole nother
I mean, but
conversation.
like all the way up, and that's excluding Idlewild, right?
Yep.
He's got to be.
Not to mention features.
Not to mention features.
Yeah.
There's no way you can take him off that. There's no way. From somebody that's I know what it's like to be in a group. I've got and I know what it's like to do so. I've done them both. It's just you can't take it away from Andre in that aspect. So I've seen that pop up in our thread because we had the Fabulous versus Andre 3000 thing last week.
Yeah.
And to be frank, that argument drives me that
one brings your blood pressure up a little bit.
Brings my blood pressure up because it's just like you don't know what you're talking about. You just don't know what you're talking about. The argument that people have is that, well, you have to exclude Outkast. I was like, how?
Yeah,
like,
for what?
Do you exclude Black Thought?
Absolutely
Root
not.
stuff?
No.
Or Fonte? Like, did Fonte randomly get good when he dropped a solo project?
No.
Like, no. Like, where's your logic? There's none.
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool on that train of thought.